So, good morning. My name is Christy Smith, and I'm here to talk to you guys about what's next after high school, how to plan for college, career, not in that order, career, then college, or whatever your post-secondary pathway might look like. We're gonna watch a couple videos. We're gonna play Kahoot. Yes. So, got you. And so we'll have some fun. This is definitely interactive. So, hang out with me, participate, ask questions, and then I'm going to walk you also through the workbook that you have. So that's yours to keep. You can write in it, take it with you, right? So, and then I'll also give you my contact information in case you want to pass on what I do to other families. Oh, there's some more people coming in. How fantastic. All right. Well, basically, this is what we're going to go over today. Not super long, but there are steps, right? So we want to be able to take the steps that are right for you in order to get you to where you envision yourself to be. Welcome, come on in. Come on, sit on this side. Over here somewhere. Grab a spot with a book. All right, front row, I love it. All right, great. Okay, so we're going to start with a video about flipping the paradigm, right? So college, career, what does that look like? To introduce you to this concept.
It's quite shocking when you think about it. Ask any adult to describe how they approach three significant life choices: their major, their college, and their career. Ask them to recall, in order, which they chose first, second, and third. They'll probably tell you that the first thing they chose was the college they wanted to attend. Perhaps they picked the parents' alma mater, or one based upon location. And after choosing a college, most settled on their major, but usually not right away. And that choice is too often driven by current interests or the persuasion from a friend to declare the same major. Finally, somewhere near or even after graduation, they then pick their career. They embark onto the job market expecting to get hired given their education. But in today's economy, that is a rude awakening for students and parents alike. 33% of college graduates are still underemployed well into their 30s. Most graduating high school students today make these choices in the same order. But when we ask self-aware, mature adults what the selection order should be, they respond without hesitation. Choose an initial career first, a college major second, and the college itself third. This order just makes sense. Your career choice dictates what major to pursue, which in turn helps identify the best college or training choice. Our educational system is very well intentioned, but incredibly misaligned. The truth is, the pendulum has swung too far toward college preparation and away from career preparation. We encourage a college-going culture even as early as elementary school, with university pendants decorating second-grade classrooms. And an exorbitant amount of time in high school is spent on college application essays and the FAFSA. At some point in recent history, we have transitioned from asking the more important question of what do you want to be when you grow up, to now asking where are you going to college. The problem isn't that we need more students to attend college.
No, I don't care.
The problem is most are not finishing. Enrollments in colleges and universities have reached an all-time high, but over 45% of students who enter are not completing their degree. Often, this is because they are juggling too much. They discover they picked the wrong major or attended the wrong institution, or they don't see the connection between the classes and the job market. In fact, for most college dropouts, they simply lose interest. For every young person in America, whatever their background, one of the essential purposes of schooling should be to help them develop the knowledge and skills needed to search for and obtain work that they find satisfying. But instead, when students finally make it into a college classroom, most arrive without any career direction or idea of what they want to get out of their collegiate education. They amass an insane amount of student debt, taking classes that have little application to their future goals, and far too often with no credential to show for their efforts. By comparison, the Swiss education model uses a nationwide system that matches high school students with training, jobs, and education, which keeps their older teenagers engaged. The Swiss have made learning to work and learning about work central to their education system. Many 16-year-olds in Switzerland already have secured apprenticeships embedded within their schooling, and all this has resulted in a youth unemployment rate below 4%. In fact, education works differently throughout the rest of the developed world. At the end of the day, about 40% of Americans earn a college degree, similar to other countries. But the difference is how many students make an attempt but drop out, costing students and taxpayers billions. America today has the lowest college completion rate in the developed world. But research shows that students who enter college with an informed declared major are far more likely to take the right classes and graduate by double than those who wander through the maze of educational choices. This simple flip of the college decision-making paradigm is the first step in how every student in America should approach their education. Students are more likely to complete their post-secondary education or training if they enter college with three things. First, a carefully considered career path. Second, an informed major or affordable training program that match their career and life goals. And third, a unique skills-based education plan that facilitates successful entry into the job market. That's impossible, you say? It's not, as over 150 high schools across the country are discovering as they help their students get focused in the 9th grade and then stay focused in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. With this focused effort, they'll graduate from high school with a 10-year career and life plan that is the blueprint to developing the skills to be employable in a highly competitive global workforce. For the sake of our students, our families, and our country, we can't afford to get it backwards any longer. It is time to flip the college decision-making paradigm and help students understand the most direct route to a self-sufficient future.
All right. So when we're talking about the end goal, we're looking for something that is fulfilling for your career. How many of you know what you want to do for a career? I'm asking adults too. Right? A few. Okay. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I don't think I want to grow up. Right? But the idea behind this, really is my passion. And so looking at, what is your end goal to get there the fastest and the most efficient way possible without spending a whole bunch of money, through trial and error. And so, so this book that you have in front of you is kind of a step-by-step process that I'm just going to kind of skim through, and then you can go home and really kind of focus on it. But I wrote this book in 2017 for my students. I've been teaching college and career readiness at Colorado Early Colleges for this is my 16th year. And so I love what I do. I have a passion for helping students through this process. And so I wanted to be able to give them something to take home with them afterwards, because it's a resource, right? And so sometimes you have to go back and say, I want to ask myself these questions again. And so to determine, your major or your focus of study, right, you have to know, what it is that you're interested in, but not just interest. You've got to know yourself and what makes you fulfilled. How many of you know somebody who's having a job that they hated? Anybody ever know a job? Yeah. I've had a few of those too, right? And usually it's the wrong fit. So we want to look at, not only just, interest, but also your values. What do you value? What is going to make you fulfilled? What are your personality traits that make you who you are? And so go with something that suits you, right? And if you don't like what you're doing, change. The average person goes through 5 careers in their lifetime. I think I'm on number 3, so I've got 2 more, right? So we'll see where life takes me, but right? It's true. All right, cool. So let's go through some of these. We want to look at this, and so please share with your family. right? So think, pair, share about this. Answer to this question: why should you choose a major before choosing a school or a pathway? We've kind of talked about this a little bit, but I want you to use your own words, right? So please turn to the person next to you and answer this question. Ready, set, go. All right, and let's talk about what you guys talked about. Who'd like to share their answer, what you guys talked about from your family? Please.
Okay, well, the thing is, not every school offers every degree or certificate program. Some are actually, and then some schools are actually known for putting out, for maybe excellence in a certain category.
Awesome. So, not every school offers everything. Some schools are better at, things than others. This school right here has some fantastic reputations for nursing, for automotive, welding, culinary arts. And so, picking the right one would make a lot of sense. What do they excel in? You guys are going to UCCS next week, right? So next week, you guys are going to go there. What is UCCS known for? Anybody know? Engineering. Nice. So they are ABET accredited, which is a very high level of accreditation for universities in that area of study. They're also really fantastic at nursing. So the next step to that could be through UCCS. So we want to know, right? The more you know, the more powerful you're going to be, and the more confident you're going to be in your decisions that you make. So determine a major. So what are you going to do for your major? What is your area of study? College might not even offer it, right? So we need to look at what are the other options besides college too. So here we go. So these are some of the other options. There's lots of them. So maybe, yours is an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship is where basically you're learning from the master, like Yoda. All right. So you learn from the master. There's several different kinds of careers that have this kind of pathway. And so if you want to be an electrician, you want to be a plumber, you will be employed and you will make lots and lots of money because that is necessary to our function of our community, right? So you need those kinds of people around. It'd also be great to have one of those in the family, right? So, oh my gosh, trying to get like a plumber to come to your house is, scheduled like weeks out. But anyway, so an apprenticeship is an amazing way that you can get to your career without college. Military, right? Anybody gone through the military? Okay, awesome. What branch? Army. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for your service. But military may be an option for you. Right, so community college or state college, right? 2 years, right? So you could do, again, welding, culinary arts, police academy, 2 years, start your career, fantastic. Traditional university, right? You could go community college, finish a couple years, transfer, save yourself some money, some time, or go directly to the traditional university route. Vocational or trade would be getting a license for something that would be, again, kind of a trade in your community. So being a mechanic, right, would be an excellent trade to have. 2 years of school. So whatever your pathway might be, how much education are you willing to go through? What makes you the most comfortable with going toward your career? Question, please.
Yeah, since community college is on there, do you have any like pros and cons to concurrent enrollment while still in high school as people are trying to decide?
What a great question. So I've been teaching at Colorado Early Colleges, for 15 years, and I love, 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 love concurrent enrollment. Why? Free college, right? So the program is for anybody who wants to pursue, taking college credits while you're in high school. So instead of taking that AP class, or instead of taking, the same kind of, language and lit all the way through, you would stop at college prep, take the placement test, and then automatically be able to take those classes for free while you're still in high school. I have freshmen who are in my classes that are taking college classes. They count toward your high school credits to graduate, and concurrent enrollment count toward that college degree. And so most of our students graduate with their associate's degree for free from PPSC, right? So yes, concurrent enrollment, love it, love it, love it, love it. So check out Colorado Early Colleges. We'll plug there for you because it's amazing, right? So I fully believe that. All right, cool. So apprenticeships, right? So here's some other ideas, right? So carpenters, electricians, again, plumbers, metal workers, right? So there's some ideas, and then, right, and they're all growing because why? Our community is growing, especially here in Colorado Springs. It's just exploding with population. All right, military. Find out before you sign up. Right? What are the benefits? What are the requirements to find out where you would fit in order to choose correctly? Right? So where would you go? And then talk to a recruiter. Talk to people who have been through the process already. Right? Find out what you're getting yourself into. Okay. Fantastic. All right, let's play Kahoot. So I want to know what you already know. So a little bit of trivia. What do you know about the college pathway already? So let's do that. Grab your phone if you have a device. If you don't have a device, you can pair up with somebody else and you can make a team. Okay. So you can use the QR code, or you can go to kahoot.it. Those are some cute avatars. All right. Does anybody need more time to get into the game? Okay, I got you. All right, here we go. Right. What is a major? Most of you got it. So a focus of study, right? So you pick your area of interest. No matter if it's college or not, it's still a major, a focus of your study. What are you learning about? What is the FAFSA? All right, most of you got the free application for federal student aid. We're going to talk a little bit more about this later to help you pay for college. All right, Gigi. What is a SAR?
And the other one's not all of the above, because why? It just has one name. Because it was a
Mhm.
free application and the other, I forgot, but I thought it was all of the
The
above.
first application, I think, was one of them, but it's always free. All right, so we always want to keep in mind that it's always free. All right, student aid report, which is what you get after completing the FAFSA. What are the HERE requirements? All right, so universities have specific requirements that they want you to have for classes that you've taken before you can enter. We'll talk more about that later too. Take a college class. How many credits is it usually worth? One college class. Most of you got it. 3 credits.
Oh, Melissa's ringing.
How many credits per semester is a full-time student? Nice job. Associate's degree, 2-year degree. How many credits total? Mm-hmm. 60 plus, and the plus is there because it depends on the program, right? So depending upon your degree plan, it could be more. How about a bachelor's? Nice. 60 plus 60. And UCCS has a program for that. 60 here, UPSC, 60 there. And so, yeah, 120 plus. Melissa. How about a master's? Uh-huh.
So all things have-
All together.
I
Darn it. Right, so 60 plus 60 plus 30. Yeah, 60 plus 60 plus 30.
I just chose highest because it's called the master's degree.
That's smart. The master's degree. So associates, bachelor's, master's. Gonna get really crazy. PhD. What kind of degree do you have to have before you can apply to going to like law school or medical school? What level? Your bachelor's degree. So you don't have to have a master's usually. So a 4-year degree and then apply. Your bachelor's degree is supposed to prepare you to take that test to have the aptitude to keep going in that particular type of school. Melissa's on fire. All right, true or false? A bachelor's is required before a master's. Most of you, true. All right, so associates, bachelor's, master's. Have to have a bachelor's before you can get a master's. What do you earn from a vocational or a trade school? Like mechanics or welding, cosmetology. License. What type of admission standard does a community college have? Open, right? So, so open admission means that you just have to do what? You just have to apply, right? So you can get in, but you do have to graduate from high school first or get your GED. So open admission. Elizabeth took Melissa down a notch. Good job, Elizabeth. Which type of admission standard does a traditional university like UCCS have?
I got caught up on the fact that university.
Ooh. So no set standards basically means that they can set whatever standards they want. They can say, we want you to have this GPA. You have to have had volunteer hours. You have to have had a certain grade point average, right? So they can make whatever, no set standards. So it's important to know what that college wants before you set your mind on it, right? And then here are those classes you have to take in high school. Which type of admission standard does the military have? Ooh, that was quick. Most of you got it. The ASVAB. So the ASVAB is an aptitude test, and it basically determines your MOS or your job when you enlist.
What's the MLS?
The MOS is the job.
MLS.
Yeah. Your specialty. All right, true or false? An associate's degree is required before a bachelor's. False. So you can go, right, associate's degree and then have those credits and transfer to traditional university, but you don't have to have your associate's degree. However, is it a good idea to claim it? On the way. Could be. Please.
If you only want to take one class, like, okay, I'll tell you real quick. So when I was getting my last master's, my advisor told me to take a writing class before I started my doctoral program.
Sure.
And so, can you just take one class at a community college?
Yes.
And like that's it, and like you never have to do anything else again?
You can go and take classes just for fun.
Okay.
So I've taken creative writing here
Okay.
just because I wanted to,
Yay.
you know, and you can also audit the classes. You'll have to ask, forgot his name now, Zach?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Specifically, but I think that you can even audit the classes, and I think it might even cost less if you don't really need the credit.
Oh, word?
Right? Okay. So.
And it's called auditing?
Uh-huh. So I like to learn, you know, like I'm just kind of a nerd, you know, I like to do stuff. So it's kind of fun. True or false? A PhD is a medical doctor. False. So we have a lot of teachers on campus who have PhDs, and I always tell my students, don't let, you know, like Dr. Morris operate on you, because he has a degree in English, you know, so you can get a PhD in all kinds of things, you know, so it's not necessarily a doctor. I might go by doctor. They've put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get in that doctorate. Make sure to call them doctor, but they are not a medical doctor. Which type of school should an aspiring firefighter choose?
Oh.
All right, community college. So State College, right? So here they do have an excellent program for fire science as well. And they did not pay me to say all this stuff, by the way. I just want you to know that. All right, so fire science. 2 years to become a firefighter. Melissa's on fire again. Which type of school should an aspiring cosmetologist choose? Somebody who does hair, nails, skin. Awesome job. So that's a trade or a vocation. So it's important to know. You know, I have students who are like, you know, I want to do hair, but I want to go to UCCS. It's like, that's not, that, you know, make sure it's the right pathway. Which kind of career needs a professional degree? First, professional. Awesome, so a lawyer. So professional school is that school, specialty school, after bachelor's degree. First, professional. A doctor would also be a first professional degree. Chiropractor. Which type of school should an aspiring artist choose? All right. So this one really could be all of the above, you know, but most schools that focus on art are non-traditional. And so non-traditional schools are kind of like vocational schools, except for you can get a higher level degree. Rocky Mountain, it's REMCAD, Rocky Mountain School of Art and Design, something, right? Like something like that is a non-traditional university, just focusing on art.
Wow.
Scott, look at that. Nice job, Scott. Taking the lead, sneaking up. Which type of school should an aspiring teacher choose? Whoa, nice job. Need a bachelor's. Scott's still in the lead. Super fast. All right, true or false? A bachelor's degree can be earned at a community college. Ooh, false. I heard somebody say it. So that's why PPSC has gone and transferred to the state college instead of community college, because now they offer a couple of bachelor's degrees. Please.
So even before it was a state college, I went with my daughter to some of the nursing programs.
Mhm.
They had just started offering the bachelor about 2 years before it became a state college. So why
Yep.
would that not?
They had to change it.
But I mean, why would that not be true though? The answer, because like they said that there are community colleges that do offer bachelors.
Not usually. Right. So if you were like, I want to get my bachelor's degree in education, I want to get my bachelor's degree in engineering, usually you would have to transfer and go to either a non-traditional university or traditional university. So there are some exceptions, of course, but usually. Scott is on fire. All right, true or false? A subsidized loan does not accrue interest while in school. Is a subsidized loan? All right, true. So we want to get the loan that has the least amount of impact, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Which of these is a vocational school? All right, so Pima Medical Institute is a vocational school. You're gonna walk out with a license or a certification. All right, last one, true or false? You get your student loan bill as soon as you graduate. Day of, here's your degree and your bill. Congratulations. False. Good. They give you a little time to, find a job so you can pay back the student loan. That'd be awful.
Even if you don't graduate.
Right, that's true. If you stop going for 6 months. All right, Melissa ended up in third. Elizabeth, second. Dun, 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 dun. Scott, woo-hoo! Nice job. Stolen from behind. I love it. Excellent work. On the podium, you get extra credit. All right. So you guys are pretty knowledgeable. All right. So let's talk about some of the details. I want to go through some things with you in order to kind of solidify some stuff. But first, let's go back to the book. I want you to do a little activity with your family. It's on page 11. Awesome. So page 11 is, I think, one of the most important exercises in the book. This is all about career values. So we've talked about some different pathways and things. Choose your career before you choose your pathway so that you put yourself on the right pathway. Well, in order to choose your career, you got to think about, what really is going to be impactful. So what are some of these things that would make you want to choose one career over another with an open mind? All right. So what might impact you? What are some things that would make you feel fulfilled? So, for me, I really need to be able to do something and make, have an accomplishment, right? Make an impact in my daily life. Some people are really want to, move up the ranks. Advancement is very important to them. Benefits are just one of those things that, is very practical. Challenge. Is it important to you to want to, conquer something? Clothing. This is something that's not thought of a lot. But what are you going to wear every day? Maybe it's something where you want to maybe wear a uniform. That means something, like being a police officer, right? You put on that uniform, now you have that identity. Maybe it's important to you to be able to wear flip-flops. and shorts, or, to be professional and wear a suit. My niece has a whole bunch of piercings, and she has pink hair some days and blue hair in other days. And it's really important to her to be able to just be her own person and be able to work somewhere where that's okay. So that's not okay in every profession, right? So clothing, I think, is a huge clue. Commitment and identity, being called doctor, right? I had a friend who worked for Microsoft, and she wanted to work for a company where she could take on kind of that identity, that recognition of working for a specific company. So maybe identity, communication. I kind of like to talk. Do you like to talk? Being able to be creative, education and training, right? So maybe you are a learner, you want to keep on learning new things. The environment where you're going to be has a huge impact. Time with your family, please.
Religion is not on this list, but how important do you think that is to consider if you want to be in an environment where even it's okay to say, I'll pray for you when you're not sent down to HR and
Right.
Saying getting reprimanded?
Absolutely. So there is a spot on here, or at least I used to have a spot on there. Morals, ethics, yes. So, you can put it into, to any of these pieces. I think that's really important to be able to be, who you are and what you believe in at your place of work. And so is that important to you? Definitely. Homework. As a teacher, this is something that I have. And my students are always like, am I going to give us homework? And I'm like, well, if I give you a piece of homework, I have to grade it. And I have 135 students. I have homework of 135 grading, right? So you only get one. So if I give it to you as homework, it's important. So, but as a teacher, that's something that is definitely sacrificed, right? So I take my work home. Is it important to you not to take your work home with you? Let's see, what are some other things? Location is one of those. If you want to be a marine biologist, I hate to tell you, you're going to have to move, right? So, your geographic location, what do you, where do you want to live? Has a huge impact. How much education are you willing to go through? Your schedule. If you work in the medical field, right? 12-hour shifts, holidays, weekends, something to consider. Stress. I love stress. I do. If I'm not busy, and I'm not stressed out, I don't know what to do with myself. I love it. Some people don't like stress. So pick 5 that you think are the most important. It really forces you to think about what is actually your value. I'll give you a couple minutes. Thank you for your questions. Please keep asking questions. I love it.
Okay.
So I picked a lot, and then I took all of those 5 of them back.
There's more. Oh no. This is tough, no joke. Huh? In Denver? Nice. Oh, I love it. So pilots, oh my gosh, they're so in demand and they make bank. Mm-hmm.
So he'll start off with ground school and it'll help him get his hours and get his private pilot license.
Nice.
So you're starting, but the problem is we go to a private school and I didn't realize in order to apply for a lot of scholarships you need that ACT and SAT.
Right, you can take that. on your own?
Yeah, yeah, we have to register by the 22nd, and the ACT is up for on the 28th of October. So, but the Daniel Scholarship Fund is only open from the 15th of September to the 15th of October.
Gotcha. So there's also, you know, and write this down somewhere. There's a place called, oh my gosh, it's at the Centennial Airport, and it's a free program for students to work toward their pilot's license. Oh my gosh, I want to say it's called the Eagles. I'm gonna look it up real quick. I have information.
I need that information too.
Yeah.
For my son.
Awesome. I got you. I'm going to give this to you guys at the end. Don't let me forget, because I can't find it.
At the end, you're saying it's a way to work on her?
Yes. Yeah, and it's free for students who are in high school, like high school age.
Is it something?
No. Mm-mm.
No, something different.
Yeah. ARG. Their website is like has so much stuff on it. All right. Okay, so let's do another exercise in your book. Or I just want to show you something. So you've got page 11 that's got your values on it. Page 13 is all about your strengths and asking people who know you well. And so this is something that often is left out. And so people see you differently than you see you. And so what are some things that other people around you notice? Tell your kids, I noticed this in you. Tell your spouse, I noticed this in you. It's really one of those things that can really help lift others up and have them recognize that they do, in fact, have these strengths. So ask people who know you well. Ask your boss, your coworkers. Ask your significant other. Right? So strengths. Ask people what they think you're good at. And then on the following pages are some more specifics. I want to give you a specific one on page 16. How many of you have ever done the Myers-Briggs test? A few of you. Fantastic. I really like the Myers-Briggs personality because it gives you some insight into your strengths and weaknesses. and understanding other people. So usually people are not trying to be difficult. They're just different, right? Different ways of thinking, different ways of behavior. And so this is something that I think is really important. So I want to give you another website or a website for this. It says to Google free personality test, but 16personalities.com is a free test for this. 16personalities.com. The number 16, yep. 16personalities.com. This is what I have my students do. And it's just a lot of fun, right? And so, and again, just learning about yourself and other people. So getting to know yourself and your strengths before choosing a career, along with your values, is huge. Okay. In between here, I'm just going to walk you through a few things, is the money factor. So how far does money go? Not as far as we want. Ever. No matter how much money you have, it's just, you've got to know how to budget it. And so there's some things in here about money, but I could usually spend 2 weeks on that with my students. So we don't have time for that today. I'm sorry. Job outlook. So on page 39, through 41 is looking at what are the statistics for careers that are going to be in need, right, in the future. And so we want to prepare ourselves for things that are going to be in need. But with how fast technology is moving these days, we don't even know. We don't know because, like, for instance, Uber drivers. Flying cars, right? Those, yeah, I mean, like, and they weren't around, a few years ago. Web developers, right? That wasn't a thing back when, there's no internet, right? So things have changed a lot. And so things are going to continue to change. We just have to be able to adapt. Sometimes go back to school, get more knowledge, and then keep on going, right? So if that's become the new normal, right, you're going to have to. Just going to have to keep on adapting to change. But we do want to know, what is predicted for the future. And so we can prepare ourselves for things that are going to be up and coming. Page 42. So this is where we get into career research, and we're going to put all the pieces together. And so we have mynextmove.org, which uses information from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And so what happens with this website is it's going to tell you, all of the bits and pieces that you need to know in order to research your career. So I want to show you this real quick because it's pretty great. The Career Interest Profiler is a great way to look at things that maybe you hadn't thought about. So my next move, here's what it looks like. And so if you have, you want to look and see, I don't really know what I want to do. You can take this Discover Your Interests, which is in your book. You can click here and look at career clusters. So you're like, I really like business. I want to look into some careers in business. If you have an idea of something that you already know, but you want to look into it, find out all the facts before you put yourself on that pathway. The other thing I want to definitely recommend, and it's in the book, I'll get there in a second, is to job shadow. So go out and talk to people who have been there, done that, see what it's really like so that you can have an idea. My brother, he went through school to do heating and air conditioning, and he lived in Arizona at the time. Well, in Arizona, they have some really big spiders. It's like his number one fear. So he's doing this, he's doing like his internship or externship or whatever, and he's going behind the furnace and stuff, and needless to say, he doesn't do that job anymore. All right, so you got to see what it's like. The number one career that I've sent students on to go and job shadow and have them change their mind, veterinarian. I want to work with animals. Well, guess what? You're going to have to work with sick animals a lot, animals that are old, But also, you actually have to deal with the humans, right? Like the people who own those animals, and oftentimes they're not too happy. So it's one of those things. So make sure that you know before you do it, please.
So with your work and doing things like job shadowing, I would assume you have friends, family, people you can ask, but professional careers, how would you get a chance? Like if your kid is interested in dermatologist,
Great.
How do you? I mean, except maybe asking the one you go to, is there programs that you know of that?
So there are programs. There's and you might even have this through your school and not even know about it. There's something called the Pikes Peak Education Business and Education Alliance. It's PPBEA. Go ahead and write this down somewhere. The Pikes Peak Business and Education Alliance, PPBEA. And what that is it's an organization that's here in Colorado Springs that has developed a database full of people who are willing. And they went out and they said, will you be, okay with a student coming to job shadow you? And these people were like, yes. And so, however, it is a subscription service that's done through the schools. So, please, question.
What do you think about shows that are geared towards particular careers? Like I know you mentioned veterinary, and then like on Nat Geo Wild, they have like real veterinarians like Dr. Cole and watching cows be born, and you know what I mean? I guess it's considered reality TV here in the US.
I think it's a
dermatology with like Dr. Pimplehopper or people who do the other skin.
Sure.
People who've been inspired in their faces, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like real, and they're showing you the procedures. Do you think that is something, a tool to use in helping decide, or do you think that it's just hogwash on TV?
I think that any exposure can generate interest. And so sure, TV. I mean, there's lots of people who are like, oh, I want to do, crime scene investigation. But then, it's my niece, my other niece that not the one with the pink hair, but she works for the CSPD, and she did some evidence collection, and so she said there was like a blood closet, right? She's like, she has to categorize blood in the. Nope. So know what's involved, right, before you do that. But anyway, so I just want to show you this real quick. What it looks like, because it's so easy to use. And so say, for instance, electrician.
Astronomer?
What? Astronomer? Got you.
Yes.
Okay, astronomer. So I'm going to click on that. And what it does is it shows you all of this info right on one page. Okay, so you're going to be making $128,000 a year, but you do need a doctoral degree, which is a PhD, right? So bachelor's, master's, PhD. Question?
This Pikes Peak Business and Education Alliance, you said it's done through the school?
Yes.
You have to go to your counselor to ask about this program?
Not necessarily. So what you could do to see if yours is here, so this is the PPBEA, you could go onto the website and I don't know why this is so small, but it says sign up here, and you have to create an account. And so you can put in your school and see if they have one. So it's worth a shot. But while we're on job shadows, and by the way, there's like a project in here where you get to analyze each career on a scale of meh to amazing. Okay, for each of those pieces. Please turn to page 68. So how to set up a job shadow. Here's a script to help you with, like, what do I say? I have cold called people, straight out of, finding people who have this business. Hey, I'm a, I've done a lot. I'm a graphic designer. right? I'm an interior designer. Hey, would you be okay with, having, a couple students come and job shadow you? Right? Sure, no problem. Architects, they love to have people, right? Astronomers, go hang out with an astronomer for a day, right? Go check it out. They have some great programs up in Boulder, right? So here's some questions to ask. You don't have to ask all of them, but on page 69, pick some of the things that, you want to know so that you don't go there and you're like, so, how's it going? What, I don't know what to say. So ask the questions. Awesome.
I have a quick question.
Please.
About Alliance. So we're in a tiny private school,
Yep.
and they just barely hired a career counselor, and he only does that like an hour a day.
Yep.
And so how do we get on that list?
It's a great question. They do have contact on there. So, if you want to call, contact them and say, hey, I want to, be part of the subscription. I don't know what they would say. But they're there to help people. So, but check it out first and see if your school is available through there. And otherwise, just don't be afraid to ask. I'm really nosy. Every time I go to, the dentist or, to the doctor, I'm like, so what are some pros and cons about your career? And, just start asking questions. Start asking questions. Awesome. Okay, as we keep on going through the book, 71 is really where we're at with the education plan and really figuring it out. So once you have an idea of, I think this is where my values, my personality, all of those things fit. Find some careers, go job shadow, see what's what, feel it out, experience. And then, what is your pathway? So on page 73, there's some options. And some of you might have a whole bunch of these. For instance, our friend here, the astronomer. It's going to have check, because it's lots of education. And that's okay, right? Because you're interested in it and you love it. By the way, I do want to mention something about this, levels of education. It doesn't get harder. It just gets more specific, right? Would you agree with that? Right? So if you're really into it, you're going to love it. And you're going to be like, all right, great. But then, of course, you got to pay for it. And that's the only downside. That's the kicker. It's always the kicker. Well, if only I had enough money to do whatever. All right. So we played Kahoot. We talked about the different levels of degrees. Here's some more. First, professional, right? So you get your bachelor's and then you go and you apply for that school. And then you pick the right type of school for your particular pathway. So career, pathway. Let's get to paying for it. Actually, I got one more thing for you. Hang on. Because before you can pick, you got to know what to look for. Okay, so when you guys go do your tour in about 10 minutes, there's a couple things. Not only are you going to identify your career values, but you've got to identify your education values, right? Your college values. So please turn to page 75. What are some of those things that are important to you when choosing your place to get your education? Whether it's an apprenticeship, community college, state college, university, whatever. What are some of those things that are important? And again, it's 2 pages. 75 and 76. Please check as many as you want, and then you have to pick your top 5 again. The first one on there, you can check, but I don't want you to put it on your top 5. Accreditation should be a given. Okay, so don't go to a school that doesn't have a regional or a national accreditation. If you are seeking a degree, Make sure that your university is regionally accredited. What that means is that it's going to have a certain set of standards for education, and it's going to be able to be transferred to another school. The location could be really important to cost. It could be also important to travel. So if you're like, I want to go to college in Maine, you're going to have to take a plane home for Christmas. You know, being far away from family might sound appealing, but it can be really lonely, right? And so consider the location. Is it close to home? Is it out of state? Out of state tuition, I hate to break this to you, is sometimes double to triple the cost. I have another website for you. If you want to go, I'm going to write all these on the board for you too. If you want to go out of state, there's something called the WU. Oh, this marker kind of sucks. And you go, woo, I don't have to pay the out of state tuition. The WUE, the WUE, is the Western Undergraduate Exchange, and it's the woo.edu. And what this is basically the WU rate. And so if you are a student in Colorado and you want to go to school in Hawaii, you're like, oh, I want to live in Hawaii. That sounds like a great idea. There are some schools who kind of have this deal that they're not going to like upcharge you for out-of-state tuition. And so the woo.edu will give you the schools that are participating in the Western Undergraduate Exchange so that you can get the WU rate, which is usually about tuition and a half, as opposed to double or triple. So I don't want to crush your dreams about out-of-state tuition. So there's a resource. There you go. And then here's the ppbea.org. This is the Pikes Peak Business Education Alliance that has that database of job shadows. I will warn you that making the account is a lengthy process. So if you get stuck, do the contact. You do have to put in your school. You have to put in your email, your parents' email, your school counselor's email, and everybody who's on that has to say, yes, I'm okay with this. So just be aware of that. What else? 16 personalities. That's the personality test. Okay, so you've looked through and you said, okay, these things are important to me. Now I'm going to choose my type of school based upon that. Do they have all these things? On page 77 is a lovely little chart to do research. So use the columns, find out all the ins and outs, and then it has you do a numerical analysis so that you can see which one really does win based upon all the things that are important to you. What you got?
Mine is on page 76.
Interesting. Yours is special. I don't know why. So when I had, sometimes Amazon, when they print these, I had one that was printed upside down the other day, and I was like, this one's really special. Okay. So, yeah. But anyway, so Big Future here is a great website. It's free. It's provided to you by College Board, which are the folks that do the SAT. So Big Future through College Board. This is a great resource to find all this info. And it's pretty user-friendly. Okay, next, page 78 and 79, or whatever the following pages are for you. Yeah, maybe somebody else has that too. But look for the campus visit. This is something that you can use to help you answer some of the questions about what it is that you're looking for when you go and visit. Always, 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 always visit where you're going to go, just like a job shadow, right? You're going to go and visit your educational institution. Make sure that you feel comfortable there. Talk to some people. What do they like about it? What don't they like about it? Go sit in on a class. Most institutions will let you do that. Just go to the admissions office and say, I want to do kind of a visitor day. And so you can do that and talk to the instructors.
Does it sound like a visitor
the institution. All right. So anyway, so go see it. What do you like about it? Are you still considering it? And then create your education plan. So on page 81, every degree plan has a list of classes you have to take. Know what they are. Try to knock out as many as you can, either through concurrent enrollment or through community college to save yourself some bucks. Question?
When you go to those college fairs, if they're on the campus or
Mhm.
elsewhere, what are some good questions to ask recruiters since you only have those few minutes and want to make the most of those recruiters, especially if they're out of state or on the other side of the country?
Ooh, I love that question. So, I mean, you could ask some of the questions that are here in the campus visit, but I would ask, what programs is your school known for? Right? That person is probably oftentimes an alumni, right? So ask them what they think is, some of the best things about the school. Ask them about scholarship programs, because sometimes those are harder to find. And ask them about the culture and the community on campus. So those are just a couple things off the top of my head. Does anybody else have anything to add to that? What to ask at a college fair? Please.
Whether you're required to live on campus or not.
Fantastic. I love that question because it costs a lot of money to live on campus. Usually if you live within 60 miles of that campus, wherever your parents live, that address, if you live within 60 miles, usually you do not have to live on campus as a requirement. Some schools absolutely have a requirement to live on campus. So that's going to be an extra $10,000 a year. Please.
To find out how much it is for that school, can you just go to their website?
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Something else that you can do, so like when you do this research here, it'll also tell you here, and there'll be links to those specific college websites. The thing about college websites, and I don't know why they do this, is they hide information from you. And so sometimes it's hard to navigate. So you might want to, pull your hair out and throw, your computer out the window. Exactly. Just tell me already. Yeah. So use this because it will tell you directly.
A lot can change too because they
That's
add
true.
and subtract and then they add some more.
Fees. Ask about the fees.
Like you can get as much information as you can, and then it's a month before, and your bill is like $5,000 more dollars.
Right. So what kinds of fees are necessary? Paying to park. I mean, even just parking fees. Some schools charge you, $200 a semester to just park your car. Please.
So, if you're asking them about the on-campus housing thing, if they require you to live on campus, then you need to know whether you have a choice where you live, because some of it is co-ed and some of it is not co-ed, and you may not have a choice whether you put in the co-ed or not.
Absolutely. So, so ask them about that, and usually it's all about your timing. So, first come, first served. When you guys go to UCCS, make sure that they take you through the dormitories. They're not even called dormitories; they're called residence halls. And so they something that's really great about UCCS is they don't have shared bathrooms. So it's kind of like an apartment, and so everything is in there, and so you don't have your showers all the way down at the end of the hall with a whole bunch of people. Right? Got your flip-flops, right? But what was I going to say? Laundry, for instance, is it included with the cost of room and board? At UCCS, it is, which is pretty cool. Question. Safety is also an issue. What are their safety statistics? Yeah, so I like that. CU Boulder, they have, most college campuses have like a safety tower, like they're like almost like the old telephone booths, right? Like all over the place. But there, it's a big red button.
Yes, they do.
Yes. And so, my husband is one of those people who, he wants to touch all the buttons, right? And so there's a big red button, but it says next to it, like, if you push the button and, you're not really having an emergency, that you get like a fine or something, right? So don't go push the big red button if you go travel into those campuses, but it's really tempting. It's like, I just want to push it. All right. So safety, that's a big one. Okay. What else? I do want to give you a couple more things for paying. 86, page 86. Page 86 forces you to look for scholarships. So how many scholarships are you going to apply for? Sometimes scholarships go unclaimed, and people who don't even qualify for them just get them because they're just kind of hanging around, right? Maybe it's for somebody who's female and the only person who applied was male. Well, guess what? You might get it. So just apply. Please.
For adults who want to further their education, do you have a recommendation for scholarships or even where to look for them?
I would say still on the same ones up here. So there's FastWeb is one of the most popular ones to look for, and you put in all of your qualifications. So if you're an adult, you check that box, and it will email scholarships to you. Just such a great resource. Please. Thank you.
What was that one? You said fast.
FastWeb. So on page 86.
It's 85 on the
Oh, sorry. I don't know why that is. It's so weird. Just at the top. So there's a bunch of those. So go and peruse, look for, for some of those scholarships. Some schools, there's another question to ask is, do you have an automatic scholarship? Right. So some schools have automatic scholarships if you get a certain SAT score. UCCS, I think it's $10,000 if you have at least an 1180 on your SATs. And a certain GPA, but I don't think it's very high. So ask if they have those automatic scholarships because it just helps you kind of chip away at that tuition. It's taking down everything that I say, which is kind of freaky. All these little microphones, right? Super extra fancy.
Oh yeah, it's the hyperflex.
Uh-huh.
So
It's listening.
It'll transcribe everything that's being said in the room for like people who are audio impaired.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. It's a little creepy, but it is super cool.
I mean, it's what our phones do to us all the time.
It's true. They're always listening.
Always. That's why we get all personalized.
All right, so these are the values. I just want to wrap up with researching the requirements, and then a couple things for paying for school. So make sure that you know the requirements of what that school wants, especially while you're in high school, because these might be different depending upon the school you want to go to. The HERE requirements are the higher education admission requirements. And so usually it's lined up with your graduation requirements. However, there's one piece that I want to show you that sometimes is different. The foreign language, a lot of schools actually require 2 units, which is 2 full years of a language, or 2 semesters of college. Right, so like concurrent enrollment at my school, they can take 2 full years of high school Spanish, or they can take college level Spanish 2 semesters and conquer that. So they want you to do that in order to be prepared to go to university. So I think that taking a language for at least 2 years is important. 1 year isn't going to get you a whole lot anyway. So just be aware, just in case, take 2 full years of foreign language. Please.
One more question about audit courses. Do they still show up on your transcript even though you're not getting credit for it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I never looked because I didn't care.
It might show up as like C and C.
Uh-huh.
credit.
So this gentleman might know better. Hang on to that question. Put a pin in that one.
Okay.
Question.
Perfect way of getting foreign language mastered, go to that country.
Absolutely. Right. Immerse yourself in that language. Even if you take,
Because then you have to know it.
you have to, you have to, be able to handle it. Okay. I apologize. This is from last year, but please be on the lookout. Right. Again, save yourself some money. You have to pay to apply to college. Right. So not necessarily for a state college. I don't think there's a fee to apply. Right. And these can be waived if you're on free or reduced lunch. But usually it's like $50. So we need to be aware that, hey, I don't want to apply to every school in the whole universe because you're going to have to pay that fee. But there are free days in October I want to say that these are still the same for 2023, but just be aware that in October, around this general time, there's free application days. Okay. Colorado. Great question. Okay. So free application days. I do want to give you one more website. Is it in here? So where to apply? There's the witchywoo.edu. Make sure that you hit the deadlines for application. Oh my gosh. I can't think of it off the top of my head, and it's not in here. But I'm going to write it on the board if I think about it. I also had a couple of you who were asking questions about that free flight program, so I'm going to write that on the board for you. If any of you are interested in flying, right? So learning how to fly and get your pilot's license. At the high school level, there's a program that is free. Okay, so I'm going to write that on the board for you, and you can become a pilot, and make $300,000 a year, woo, for free.
We also found out that the ACT and the SAT are free for you if you're low income, and it doesn't have to be just free and reduced. So your school gets a code from them.
Oh, cool.
And they have an ACT code and an SAT code. If you plug that in, I think you're already determined to be pre-approved by the school to be low income, and so they automatically will waive your first 2 test fees.
Awesome.
And then in addition to that, you get certain university fees for free any time of the year.
Yep.
So
Love it.
That code comes in really handy. You have to talk to yourself. So you go to College Board for SAT and you go to the ACT. You go to ACT, but they won't let you apply for it until you get a code from your school. So my school, the principal already had it, even though we don't have a college career counselor. But like your school might have someone. I applied for the College Board. We just signed up for it the other day. Yeah. So you need to get the number code from the school, and that's.
There it is.
I think they get it when they sign up for the SAT.
All right. So, and look and see what it is that you need to take. Turn to page 85 for me real quick. Or wherever it says standardized tests. Some schools only require you to take the SAT. The difference between the SAT and the ACT is science. So science is on the ACT, but not on the SAT. So most schools just want you to take the SAT. So find out what you have to take. And then you can go to those websites to take them. Right in the middle here, Common App is where most people use to apply to college. It's on page 85, maybe 84 or 86. 84. I don't know why my book is different than yours. But Common App, what you do is you upload all your information. So your GPA, your ACT or SAT scores, you upload 1 or 2 application essays or admission essays, and then you just click where you want it to go instead of having to go to every single college and fill out their application. But don't get click happy because, again, you have to pay. Right? I'm going to apply to Harvard just for fun. I think their fee is $100. So don't do that. Exactly. Yeah. So know what those application requirements are. Find scholarships. Know who you are. So please go through the book and take some of those little surveys. Learn about all the different things that are going to make you feel fulfilled and put yourself on an efficient pathway to get to success. Question?
If you have a school that's got an extremely high application fee, like the Old School Theology, $250.
Wow.
Are there scholarships or programs to help pay for applications if you're serious? You know what I mean?
Right. I would say, to go to that website and maybe even just reach out to the financial aid office and ask them. My philosophy is it never hurts to ask. Right. So, so ask questions, just got to know where to ask. So anything to do with money, ask the financial aid department. Right. Make sure you fill out the FAFSA. How many of you are familiar with the FAFSA? You're like, I got this. Okay, good. And you can do that starting in October of senior year. And then you have to fill it out every year that you're in school. All right. Oh, I could just go on and on and on. So I'm going to stop. But I do want to answer any questions. Any questions for me, please? You were first.
I just have a comment about scholarships. Like for you, just try to know like what your specialties are. Like if you're a veteran, if you're a woman, if you're a single mom, if you're a, there are scholarships.
Single moms get scholarships?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just have to look. Just look and like comb through, and then I don't know. You just have to look for what is your thing. You know,
Yep.
I make less than blah blah blah. There's scholarships for so many things.
Yep.
You have to like really
You have to know.
comb through and
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I really like FastWeb, because you can, check those boxes and it will kind of help you sift through. But what a great problem to have, that there's so much available that you have to, comb through and sift through all the stuff. So you're absolutely right. Fantastic. Please.
Is it my understanding that the was it FAFSA? The FAFSA that will primarily, like student loans, will mainly are going to be granted for degree programs, not certificate programs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of financial aid, it is going to go to degree programs, and it has to be classes that are within your degree. So like if you're taking a class for fun, it may not be covered by financial aid because of that reason. So there are other things out there for like certificates, which I've talked about during my section.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, for financial aid itself, it's only for degree programs.
Yes.
Great.
Good.
For sure. Why don't we, that's a great transition. All right. So thank you guys so much. I will come up, I'm going to kind of sneak back over here and put a couple more things on the board for you. But thanks so much for hanging out with me. And I hope that you got something out of this presentation. So thank you. All right. Zach from PPSC.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Zach Lepsock. I'm recruitment coordinator here at Pikes Peak State College. Just a little bit about me. I've been working at Pikes Peak State College for going on my 7th year. Absolutely love it here. As a student, I was a community college student. I started at Morgan Community College in my hometown of Fort Morgan. Really, out of high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. Just knew I wanted to go to college, knew I wanted to eventually get a bachelor's degree. So that was one of the reasons I started at a community college was, to kind of figure out what I want to do. So I have a lot of other reasons, which I'll get into with the presentation. But that was one of the reasons. So from Morgan Community College, I transferred here to Pikes Peak for a semester, where I finished my associate's degree. And then eventually I transferred to UCCS, got my bachelor's degree there, worked as a student ambassador, and, gave tours and talked about UCCS and fell in love with higher education, decided that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So ended up getting my master's at UCCS in student affairs and higher education, and then got my job here and haven't looked back since. And really working at a community college is very appealing to me, for many reasons, but, partially because I went through that experience, and really the community college set me on a course that, set me up to be successful as a student. So that's a little bit about me. I'll talk a little bit more about my journey as we go through this, but yeah, let's get that. I'm going to play this video for you.
The feelings when you put on that robe and head into graduation come at you pretty heavy. Relief from and nostalgia. Thinking about my friends and instructors, and I can't help but reflect on how the heck I got here.
The hospital on Wednesday. I think they're going to be interested in learning more about what you're doing on the feasibility side of the coin to be able to present on this you're interviewing.
Hey, how's it going? So as I was saying about the difference between a motivational speaker and inspirational speaker,
Choose T-bone by John Driver. Are her vital signs stable? Yes. Blood pressure is 120/70, heart rate 112, respiration 20, oxygen 94%.
At first, I had no idea what to study, but with so many programs and advisors, I figured it out.
One of the things about Pikes Peak,
You don't just sit and listen to lectures. You experience things. You do stuff.
Stripping oil back in here, it was on the rear bolts, probably rear part of the gaskets.
Get the tools and go ahead and drop the whole pan.
Shoulders down, rib cage closed. Core engaged. Energy through those fingers and toes.
One thing I'll never forget is how my instructors actually cared about me. There's no way they were gonna let me fail.
Look back, make sure you don't get ran over. Slow down, look in the back of the truck. Look in the back window.
Wait, that is just from my instructor. Yeah, cool.
I met so many friends that I know I'll have forever. 2 of them happen to be instructors.
I felt like I fit in from the beginning.
The variety was amazing.
In the morning, I drop my son off at the college's child development center and then off to my classes.
Oh, the Clostridium sporogenes culture. Thank you.
Push! Push forward!
I was happily surprised how happy the students were.
It was quite a ride. I feel like from here, I can go anywhere.
Congratulations.
All right. So we always like to show that video just for, because we like to show off some of the other campuses. This isn't something that we get to do often. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. This is one of our faculty on campus, so
Bunch of new students want to come here, right?
maybe eventually. They're here learning about college in general, and right now I'm going to talk specifically about Pikes Peak. So you want to introduce yourself and you can give them a little pitch if you want.
I'm Michael Mercer. I'm the Department Chair of the Criminal Justice Program here at Pikes Peak State.
Has the best stories.
Yep. One of the fun ones that we get to teach courses in. People ask me all the time, what do I think about Pikes Peak State? I will tell you right now that I encourage both my daughters to go here. One is now at UCCS, scoring higher than her cohorts in the other classes because studies show that when you start at a school like this and you move on to a 4-year school, your grades are going to be higher and you're going to do much better by starting at a college here and then moving on to a 4-year school. Those of you thinking about nursing, my daughter went through the nursing program here. She is now a full-time nurse, also did the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and is a full-time nurse in the cardiac department at Memorial Hospital. So this is the best step in my opinion. My daughters could have went anywhere and I said, nope, you're going right here. You prove to me you can get through school here, I'll help you go anywhere else. But they went here and they're very happy they did. Welcome, and I hope to see some of you in some criminal justice classes.
Question, is your area have need for any adjuncts?
Occasionally we do. We do have a list. You can email me anytime you like. It's michael.merson@pikespeak.edu. It's Merson just like person with an M. So yeah, if you ever want to throw me an application or a resume, I'll be happy to look at it. So if I'm here on the Saturday, why am I here on a Saturday? I retired from CSPD. Why am I here on a freaking Saturday? Right? Because we have the law enforcement academy going on next door as well. And we have people that are going to go through the academy and they will eventually go on to work for smaller agencies, usually around the Front Range. Canyon City, Fountain Police Department, Monument, any of those guys you see out there usually came through our academy here at the college. And then a lot of them ended up going to CSPD and some of the higher paying agencies later on. But some just like working in a small community and they'll stay there their entire career. So yeah, again, welcome guys, and I hope you guys decide to come here. Yeah.
What is the path for a high school junior who's wanting to explore becoming a canine handler?
Okay, everyone wants to, being in law enforcement and people say, hey, I want to start here and I want to go do that. Ideally, everyone, no matter where you're going to start, you're going to do what we call pushing a cruiser, which means you're going to start out in patrol and you're going to have to earn a right to put in for some of these specialized units because the dog, I think is costing now about $65,000. And people think we just train them, we buy them as puppies and we raise them. No, we buy them as adult dogs and they come from other companies that have trained them and we spend, I want to say, about $65,000 on a dog. And so that's why when one of our dogs get hurt, we're like, man, not only do we feel bad that the dog got hurt, the city listens and goes, man, that's like $65,000. And we do take care of the dogs. A lot of people don't know this. CSPD, when a dog gets to a certain age, they do retire them. They don't let them go 20 years, okay? They let a dog go for his lifespan as a patrol dog. What do you think we do with them? Because these dogs are not dogs that you just want to go, hey, I'll just take this dog home, okay? What do you think happens to them? No.
It's a canine.
No.
Adoption.
Canine officers, well, the city sells them to the canine officer for $1. And they end up keeping the dog until it passes away of natural causes or whatever. But they'd rather go to a canine officer that knows and can predict what's going to happen with the dog. But I would tell them, get your degree in criminal justice or something, apply with the police department, get there, start volunteering with the canine officers, because canine officers like to go, okay, let's see who volunteers to work with us on their time off. Those are the ones that are usually going to go and be canine officers. My wife's allergic to like dogs and cats, so I can never be a canine officer. But it's great. I've known other cops that have done it, and one of them, he had 3 little girls at home, and I asked him, I said, you ever get nervous about with the dog at the house and stuff? He goes, I did. He goes, but it's weird. I said, what? He goes, I have a 2-year-old, and the dog just walks around the house when I'm off duty and stuff. And one night, he's just sitting right there, lays down, and my 2-year-old just comes in and climbs all over him and starts grabbing him by the neck and so forth. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I was watching. And I go, what happened? He goes, the dog got tired of her, got up and went and walked into his kennel. It's like, you know, but they know. They're not giving any commands to do anything weird. I say weird. You know the commands I'm talking about, right? Like, bite. But we don't say that, just so you know. We don't go bite him, right? All they do is yell to the other cops, dog off leash. And then if you're a patrol officer, if the dog is off leash, it's attack. I was chasing this guy, we're running, canine officer shows up, and all I heard was, dog off leash. I just stopped, right? Because that dog went right past me. I'm like, this day, I swear, 90 miles an hour, right? That dog passed me by and went after the guy because he was still running. And that's what they're trained. You go after the ones that are still running. That's why you stop. So, yeah, if you ever become a cop, you know, they say dog off leash, just stand there. Okay? Because the dog doesn't know blue from whatever. And if you're running, I've known other cops to get bit. So don't. Just stop. Stop. What else? You guys got anything else for me? No? All right, if you got questions, you can reach out to me. He can tell you how to get a hold of me. And just send me an email or something. I'm happy to sit down with you. If you come in, make an appointment, we sit down and talk. I also help advise in other programs because sometimes you don't know what you want to do. And you come and see me. If you want to do nursing, I'll help you out a little bit, but eventually I got to pawn you off onto the nursing people so they can make sure you're on the right track. If you want to do sociology, I can help you that way. The catalog is out there online. Look at the catalog. If you got questions, give anybody here a call. We're here to help you, okay?
And we have a public safety information session next week, I think, right?
We do.
Wednesday?
If you guys like to come to it, it's
So,
Wednesday night, right?
I think it's Wednesday night, yep.
Yep, come to it. I'll be there. I mean, I think they bring pizza.
They are bringing pizza.
What
Yep.
are you guys doing for them today?
I think pizza, so
Okay,
double
all right.
pizza.
So there you go. You get some good food. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Well, that was a fun impromptu little stop. Mike's great. He's so friendly and, you know, just shares about the program. That's one of the cool things you'll notice about Pikes Peak is we have a lot of people here because they want to be here. I mean, you know, obviously other schools have that as well, but, you know, here at a community college, they have the opportunity to really get to know the students. And, you know, Mike's wonderful and we have a lot of professors like him. So, all right, we'll go back to the presentation. So we have 3 full functioning campuses. Does anybody know, and anybody can answer these questions, does anybody know what the names of those campuses are or where they're at? Yes. Yep, we're at the Centennial campus today. Yep, exactly. I'm going to give out stuff at the end, or you can come grab it at the end, but you get a prize for that. Yep, so we have the 3 campuses, and then we have 3, well, right now it's 2 learning centers. We have classroom sites on Peterson Space Force Base as well as on Fort Carson. So, you know, we have a lot of active duty who take classes here. So that gives them the opportunity to take classes on their area. So yep, you were right about this one. We have Centennial Campus. This is our southernmost campus. Pretty much any course you can take here. So if you're looking at transferring to a four-year institution, you can take your general education courses here. If you're looking at some of our career technical programs, so these are going to be like 2-year degrees designed to get you out into the workforce. So if you're more of a hands-on type of person, you decide you don't want to go to school for 4 to 6 years by getting a bachelor's or master's degree, we do have some career technical programs like welding, zookeeping tech, culinary arts, automotive, computer-aided drafting, lots of different programs that are going to be really hands-on. So if you're more of a hands-on type of learner, that could be an option, a route you could go as well. But like I said, all the general classes are taken here as well. So if you're looking at transferring, you can for sure do that. We have our Rampart Range campus. That's our farthest north. And at this campus right now, we have dental assisting, computer networking, and our certified nursing assistant program. We are working on expanding our dental selection. So right now, we only have dental assisting. Within the next 5 years, we're hoping to add dental hygiene as well as dental therapy. And they're actually building a new building for all those dental programs. So we're super excited for that. And again, general transfer classes you can take at this campus and get your general associate's degree done to be able to transfer to that four-year institution. And if you have questions, just raise your hand. I can answer them in the middle presentation, okay? This is our newest campus. This isn't a full functioning one right now, so we don't have enrollment services there, but we do have our Center for Healthcare Education Simulation. This is by far one of the coolest campuses I've been to. So it actually used to be a microchip factory, and that place went out of business, and Pikes Peak bought the building. And so what they wanted to do is make this a healthcare center and make it a really nice simulation space. So they cleared out everything. And they did, it took, I think it was a 5-year remodel, but they turned this building into a simulation center, and it has 33,000 square feet of simulation space. Like, it's literally built like a hospital. They have nursing wards, they have like private practice rooms. For the EMS program, they have an entire ambulance box inside one of the classrooms. So that way, these EMS students can go into the ambulance box and simulate as if they're in there. They're actually working on getting hydraulics to have it move while they're doing that. They have one room that's set up like an apartment. So your EMS students go in there. They have to figure out what happened here based on everything that's around the room. And then they can change that and make it different scenarios, okay? Physical therapist assistants at this campus. So they literally have a physical therapy room. Farm tech, they have a lot of drugs there, not actual bad drugs, but good drugs that we need for the medical services. And then Surge Tech is one of our new programs, surgical technician. You work with surgeons, and so you get to learn how to use all that equipment. So lots of really, really cool programs. Most of these programs are designed to be 2-year degrees and get you out into the workforce, okay? With the exception of nursing. Nursing, you can get your bachelor's with us, or you can get it somewhere else. But after you get your RN, then you try to get your BSN for nursing. So one of my favorite campuses. We have our downtown studio campus. That's in the heart of downtown Colorado Springs. Another really fun campus. This is definitely focused more on arts. So dance, theater, music, art. There's an interior design program. And we're actually moving computer science there. So you can take a lot of computer science classes at this campus as well. Along with the main campus, they have across the street what we call Studio West. That's another new building. They have an art gallery, a dance studio, a black box theater that they built for these programs. So some really awesome programs and some really cool spaces to utilize them. Yes?
Have they ever thought about doing a program for pilots, like aviation?
So I think at one point they have, and I'm not 100% sure. I haven't heard anything about that coming back or anything right now. And one of the biggest reasons is we focus kind of where the community tells us those needs are. And we do have some different pilot schools that are fairly close, like Metro State, I know, has an aviation program. So, you could always start here, get your associate's degree, and then transfer to like Metro State and finish out a bachelor's in aviation there. But yeah, there's nothing that we have right now. So we're kind of focusing more on the healthcare side of things at this point, just because that's been such a need for the community. So eventually that could be a thing, but that's where I think we're at right now with that. So good question. Any other questions so far? Cool. Actually.
Isn't there a program that 8th graders can do in the summer for college preparedness?
So there was. They don't have that going this year. Since COVID, that hasn't been revitalized yet, but they're hoping to eventually get that back up and going.
What's the name of it?
That was summer. Dang it, what was that called? Summer college days or something. I can't remember what that was called, but there was programs like Zookeeping Tech was part of that. Multimedia graphic design. They had a video game design thing. So hopefully we'll see that come back. It's just right now, we had a lot of turnover, so they're trying to get that stuff figured out. But eventually we'll have that back. In terms of all the other campuses, you're always welcome to come visit them. We do campus visits. Twice a week here, twice a week at our Rampart campus. We do once a month where we go up to the Center for Healthcare Education and Simulation, and we're going to be starting up a downtown one once a month that you can join as well if you want to check out some of these cool spaces. Okay. All right, next trivia question. Does anybody know how much on average it costs to go to a private institution in Colorado as a Colorado resident? Yes. 40,000? Close. More? Yes. That was very, very close. About 55,000. Does anybody know on average how much it costs to go to a public four-year institution on average? Yes. 12,000?
12 to 15, I'd say.
Tuition, so on average of all of Colorado, that's a really good one for like UCCS is that. So that was a good guess, but on average, it's going to be more than that. 20,000? That's very close. So about 23,000 on average to go to a public four-year institution in Colorado. Does anybody know how much it costs to go to Pikes Peak for? Yes. 5,500. Very good guess. Yep, about $5,300 per year. So that's one of the benefits to going to a community college, right? Obviously, there's a lot of different factors you have to figure out on what you want to do for your future. If one of your biggest values is saving money, this is going to be purely tuition based, right? Those other numbers were based on housing as well. So that's one of the things you have to take into consideration. Pikes Peak, we don't have any kind of housing. So obviously you don't have to pay for it, but also if you're looking for a place to stay, we don't have that. So if you're looking to get more of that on-campus environment, right, then it makes sense to look at some of those other institutions. And that's where you get that higher price, okay? But in terms of just tuition, question. Yep.
What colleges accept?
Oh yeah, great question. So I'll touch on this a little bit later, but you can pretty much transfer wherever you want. And one of the biggest things that you have to figure out, so we have three different degrees. We have an Associate of Arts, an Associate of Science, and an Associate of Applied Science, okay? Generally, an Associate of Applied Science is designed to be a 2-year degree that doesn't transfer, okay? Associate of Arts and Associate of Science, those degrees are guaranteed transfer programs, and those will pretty much transfer anywhere. With the caveat, you have to be careful about private institutions. Sometimes private institutions have a very particular route they want you to take. Okay, so it doesn't always transfer to private institutions. And then when you're transferring out of state, you shouldn't have any issues transferring there. Again, but making sure you're working with an academic advisor to take not only courses that transfer, but go towards the degree you're transferring into. So shouldn't have any problems transferring for sure in state, and shouldn't have too many problems transferring to public schools out of state. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so again, you can kind of look at tuition here. So this comparison here is going to be 2 semesters at 15 credit hours per semester. So how credit hours work, okay? So generally a class is going to be about 3 credit hours. So this model here is going to say that you're taking 5 classes, okay? What 15 credit hours mean is that you're going to be in class for 15 hours a week. So, if you're taking 12 credit hours, you're going to be in class for 12 hours a week, and that's generally going to be about 4 classes. So, you can kind of pick and choose what your schedule looks like here. If you want to be a part-time student, you don't want to go full in, take 12 to 15 credit hours, you can start out with 6 credit hours and take 2 classes or 3 classes. You get that flexibility to decide what's going to work for you, okay? But with this model, you can see the 2 years that you're with us, it's going to be about $5,000 or about $10,600 for those 2 years, okay? So this is one of the reasons I chose to start at a community college. I already told you I started at community college to figure out what I wanted to do, but also to save money. Starting here, basically the first 2 years, if you're planning on transferring or going to a 4-year institution at any point, the first 2 years you're taking classes here are going to be the exact same classes that you would take at UCCS or CU. Those are your general education courses, right? Your math, your science, your history, and then you'll get a little bit into whatever your major is. So say you're a psychology major, right? You'll take some psychology classes. And then when you transfer to that 4-year institution, you're transferring in as a junior. And that's where you're really focused on psychology for those last 2 years. Okay. So for me, like I said, that was one of the benefits, saving money. Smart me, I would have saved that money and used it towards my master's degree. Impulsive me bought a pickup, which I still drive. So it was a good investment. But yeah, and then I had to take out some student loans for my master's degree and had a little bit of debt. But we'll talk about that because I know you guys talked a little bit about this with Christy, but there are different ways to help pay for college. Okay. So it sounds like you've all heard of the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And that's the first thing you want to make sure you take care of. It's going to take a lot of things into consideration and decide based on income, if you qualify for any kind of grants or student loans. Okay. If you qualify for full Pell Grant, I think it's around $6,500 for Pikes Peak. So again, our tuition is going to be $5,300 per semester. They're going to give you some extra money to use towards books, living expenses, different things like that if you qualify for full Pell Grant. Okay. And that's money you're not paying back. You could qualify for partial Pell Grant. You may not qualify for grants. It's really going to depend on your situation and your family situation. Okay. Yes.
Is it possible if you have more than one student in college at a time that they each get that same amount?
Yep. So they take that into consideration as well when you're filling out the FAFSA. That'll be one of the questions is how many people in your family are in college. And based on that, it'll have a determining factor. And yep, that'll, at the end.
So it's not going to hurt one that the other one is applying.
No, honestly, it might benefit because it's like, oh, this family is paying for 2 people in college. Like that's pretty expensive. So that actually might be more of a benefit than anything. So good question though. Loans, you guys all know what loans are. Loans, there are some benefits to student loans compared to just a regular loan, right? Usually a lower interest rate. You don't have to start paying it back until you have graduated college and you have a job. But there's just so many free options. Go for the free options first. And if you do take a loan, only take what you need, right? We want to have the least amount of debt we can possibly have. Scholarships, I love scholarships. I know Christy talked a little bit about those, and I'll tell you a little bit of my experience and what I've seen over the years with scholarships. So first and foremost, no matter where you go, and every single year you're out of college. So if you transfer to a 4-year institution, you're going in as a junior, you're going in your senior year, every year apply for scholarships. A lot of people don't think about that. They're like, okay, I'm going to apply for scholarships right out of college, and then I'm done. I'm never going to apply for them again. Mistake. You can still get scholarships even in your sophomore, junior, and senior years of college. Okay. So make sure to always apply for them. Your institution is going to have scholarships. So whether it's here, whether it's UCCS, there will be institutional scholarships. For Pikes Peak, we have one general application that's going to open up for this year specifically. It'll open in December, or I guess it would be for technically fall and spring of next year. But our scholarship application is going to open up in December, and usually it closes at the end of February. And that's a lot of the timelines for schools is going to be that range. So, if you know any seniors or if you have any seniors, that's one thing to consider is, a lot of people are like, I'll wait till my second half of my senior year to fill out scholarships. At that point, it might be too late, right? Or if you wait till the summer before you start college, then it's definitely too late. So make sure you get on that scholarship process thing early, okay? Is anybody in here left-handed? You can get a scholarship for being left-handed. There's some scholarships that are out there that you can get just for being left-handed, right? You can get scholarships for having a certain eye color, a certain hair color, being a twin. There is a lot of different scholarship opportunities out there. The hard part is there's not one single spot you can find everything, right? So you almost have to treat it as a part-time job. Spend 2 to 3 hours a week your senior year looking for scholarships, applying for scholarships, figuring out when their due dates are, and then that'll add up. And I know Christy talked about some of the different places you can look for them. Yep, fastweb.com is a really good place. Collegeboard.org has some different scholarship opportunities on it. There's an app for your phone called Scholly, where you can look through scholarships. So there's a lot of different opportunities to find those scholarships. And then outside of, looking online, looking at the institution, look around the community. There's a lot of community-based scholarships out there. Question.
How do you spell Scholly?
SCHOLLY. I had some student ambassadors who just recently applied for scholarships to do that. So look in the community, right? One of our financial aid advisors had her son open up, like, she gave her son $50, well, not $50, but $50 per bank that she wanted to open up bank accounts at multiple banks, because some banks will give scholarships to people that bank with them. So, that's something to consider as you're looking at different scholarship opportunities. Big corporations, Pepsi, Coke, the Denver Broncos, right? They give out scholarships, one, because they want to give back to the community, but two, they get tax write-offs, so it's a double incentive for them, right? So look everywhere. And just a story to tell you. I met a high school counselor 5 years ago. She had a student that's at SEVA Charter School, or that was at SEVA Charter School, and she used her entire senior year applying for scholarships. She had an Excel document where she listed, here are the dates that these scholarships are due, and then, worked on applying on them. She got a lot of rejections, but she got some acceptances, and she qualified for $1.3 million in scholarship money, which, as a person who works in higher education, I had no idea that was possible. So it really is, like, you can get paid to go to college. You just have to take the time and effort to do it. I can't guarantee you're going to make $1 million on it, right? But, if you take some time and you can get your college at least paid for, that's a really, really nice thing to do, okay? We accept military benefits. So if anybody has military benefits like the GI Bill or active duty dependents, we have an awesome military and veterans programs office that we'll see probably on the tour today. Sometimes Saturdays are weird because there's different building closures, so I can't guarantee you will see it, but hopefully we'll walk by it. But anyway, we have a really, really cool military and veterans programs office. They'll, one, make sure you get those benefits into place. They have their own academic advisors, but two, they'll make sure you keep those benefits, just because there are some stricter regulations and rules, and so they'll help you guide you through that process. Any questions about paying for college? All right. So we have different styles of classes. So you have your traditional class, which is the one you kind of imagine you're in college, right? You go into a classroom. We'll see a classroom today on the tour. Usually how it works is, again, you're taking a 3 credit hour class. That means you're meeting 3 hours a week. Generally how it's set up is you meet a Monday and Wednesday for an hour and a half, or Tuesday, Thursday for an hour and a half, or Friday for 3 hours, okay? But that would be, you go into the class, you have a set meeting date and time that you always go per week. You have online courses. Online courses are going to be more expensive, so just bear that in mind. Also, online courses are more self-paced, right? So they don't have a set meeting date and time. They have set due dates, but they don't have a time where you're going to meet with the professor or meet with your classmates. They might have some like online discussion boards, but most of it's going to be very self-paced, okay? Yes?
Why are online classes more expensive?
I think there's a couple different reasons. One, so Pikes Peak Community College, or State College, is part of the community college system. So there's 13 community colleges in the system, and they all have, we all basically have the CCCS online. So that's what we take online classes through. So you could take a class that's through us, but taught by a Morgan Community College professor. So one, keeping those prices the same throughout the state. And then secondly, I think they want to incentivize in-person classes. I mean, generally, especially if you're not strong with the subject, in-person classes are going to make you more successful as a student. So I think that's another reason. I don't know the official answer, but that's my best guess. So, yeah.
And then I had a question about the audit classes.
Oh, yeah. So with the audit classes, I think it's very dependent on the schools. Pikes Peak, we don't put it on the transcript. Like you talk to the professor, and if the professor allows you to audit the course, you can go in, learn those skills, but it doesn't count as any kind of credit, and it doesn't show on the transcript.
Right, but like the payment, I care more about payment.
Sure. So again, it kind of depends on the professor. Like if the professor is okay with you going in auditing the class, generally you shouldn't have to pay for it, but it really just depends on, the professor, how big, like how filled the class is, everything like that. So that one's going to be like a very specific by professor, by class.
Gotcha. So we contact the professor specifically.
Yep. And then you could talk to them about auditing the class. Okay. Good question. All right. We have hybrid classes. Hybrid's kind of a combination of your traditional class and your online class. So you meet one time a week, and then the rest is online, okay? That's going to be the same cost as traditional. And then your high flex is you meet 2 times a week, just like you normally would for a traditional class. But rather than meeting in the classroom, you're meeting virtually through Zoom. So, and again, same price as that traditional course, Okay. So, this is really nice because you get to build your schedule however you want to. Again, for me, like I struggle with math. I tried to take an online math class, dropped it within like hours because I was like, this is not going to work. So think about what your strong suits are, what your subjects are, and think about what type of learner you are. If you're more of a hands-on type of learner, traditional might be more geared towards you. If you need a really flexible schedule, that's where online can come in handy because again, you don't have a set meeting date and time that you have class. So you have a little bit of flexibility on when you do the work for that class. Okay. Any questions about class types? Yes.
If you want to be an adjunct at Pikes Peak Community College, where's the process?
Generally, it's reaching out to HR, but like where Michael Merson came in, like you could sometimes send it to the department chair, but generally it's going to be through HR. So if that's something you're interested, just reach out to them. Okay. All right. So I'll give you a hint. The number is not on here. You can count all those and it still won't be enough. But does anybody have any idea how many degrees and certificates Pikes Peak has? Oh, well done. Did you read that? Oh, okay. Well, even better because I thought maybe you read it. But yeah, over 200. So good job. We have over 200 different degrees and certificates. You can come get a prize after. Lots of different options. Okay. So what that means for you is like, one, I mean, you have a lot of different things you can choose from. But two, there's some flexibility, right? Along with the cost, there's a lot of different routes you can go. So if you have your mind on something or if you have no clue what you want to do, we have a lot of different options for you to try out, okay? One of the nice things, if you're planning on transferring, if you do an Associate of Arts or Associate of Science, there's a lot of very general classes you're taking before you transfer, so there's some flexibility there. So for me, when I was choosing business, again, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't like math, and I knew I didn't like science, so I was like, I'm gonna go Associate of Arts because we don't have as much math and science in that route. Programs that fall under that are gonna be like criminal justice, education, business, psychology, sociology, different programs like that. So you have some different flexibility in terms of classes you can take and still change your mind, okay? If you change from an Associate of Arts to an Associate of Science, there could be some wasted classes, but at the end of the day, the nice thing is if you start here, it's a lot cheaper to change than it is if you start at a four-year institution and decide to change your major, right? So there's some benefits to thinking about that and getting that flexibility. Yes?
How much does it cost to apply to go here?
We have no application fee. So
you don't have to wait till the October fee.
correct. You can apply anytime you want to Pikes Peak. And I encourage you, whether you're 1% sure you're coming here or 100% sure you're coming here, apply, get into our communication funnel. That way, you know, when scholarships open, when registration opens, everything like that. I'm not going to send somebody out to force you to register for classes if you decide to go somewhere else, right? So you get that flexibility, but there's no application fee. We're an open enrollment institution, so we don't have any requirements for like test scores or admissions letters or anything like that. You just get to come here. So we, take students who need a fresh start. We take students that have had a 4.0 GPA and, want to transfer to a four-year institution, however they want to do it. We have a wide variety of students. We have adult learners. We have students straight out of high school. We have students that are in high school. It was crazy. I think it was my second year working here. I'm a recruiter, so I meet with prospective students, usually in appointments. The youngest person I met with was a 14-year-old who was taking Calculus 2. I was like, holy cow, that's crazy. I couldn't even take calculus. I did, but I'll explain that later. And then the oldest person I saw was a 94-year-old guy who came back to college, and he said he wanted to get a bachelor's degree. So he started out here, and he ended up transferring to Arizona State to get a bachelor's degree. So we really have a wide variety of people that come here, which is cool because you get to meet a lot of people with a lot of different experiences. Okay, so those of you who have been here for a while know that we were Pikes Peak Community College, and I still struggle sometimes not calling it that because that's what I was used to for 6 years. But we made a name change to Pikes Peak State College, and this was the biggest reason. We are starting to offer bachelor's degrees. We're going to add more bachelor's degrees. But at the end of the day, our goal is still the same. Serve the community, keep classes affordable, and help students get associate's degrees, okay? So we're going to add the things we can add for bachelor's degree, emergency service administration, okay? That's going to be for students who are in criminal justice, fire science, emergency medical services, programs like that, right? If you're a firefighter, and you want to become, fire chief or something, generally you're probably going to need a bachelor's degree for that. And if you did a fire science degree, rather than having to completely start over to get a bachelor's degree, you can come into this program now and get your bachelor's degree. Okay, so that's what you're going to see a lot of here as we add more bachelor's degrees to Pikes Peak, is adding things to help serve the community. Okay. All right, quality. We're accredited by the Higher Learning Commission of the North Central Associations of College and Schools. So that same accreditation is shared by UCCS, CSU Fort Collins, CU Boulder, Texas A&M University, Harvard, all the schools that you can think of that, generally have that reputation. It's because they're part of this program, okay? And so what that means for you guys is that if you're taking classes here, generally they're going to transfer to the four-year institution that you're looking at, okay? Like I said, the few exceptions you have to think about is, one, if it's a private school, they might have just different regulations in terms of what classes they want you to take at their program. And then secondly, if you're transferring out of state, right, if you take a Rocky Mountain geography course here and then you transfer to Florida, right, they don't have the Rocky Mountains. So they're not probably going to accept that as their science credit, okay? So that's where it's important to meet with an academic advisor generally once a semester. So that way you can one, you're taking the correct courses, and two, you're taking courses that not only transfer, but transfer to the degree you're going into at that four-year institution. So an extreme example, if you have a biology major who takes a 2000 level accounting class, right, the accounting class is going to transfer to UCCS or wherever, but it's not going to go towards your biology degree. Okay, so that's where it's really important to meet with your advisor. Our average class size is 15 to 17 students. And I'll tell you, that was one of the last big reason I wanted to go to a community college. So my sister, she's 5 years older than me. She went to a big four-year institution in Colorado, and she loved it. She thrived there. Like, that was her place. But she came home for Christmas break one time, and this would have been her freshman year, and when I was an 8th grader. And she was like, yeah, my psychology, it was the general psychology class. Psychology 101 course has 500 people in it. And like, I'm from a small town. My entire school didn't have 500 people in it. So I was, at that point, I was really overwhelmed. I was like, that's a cool school, has football and all the football, but not my fit, okay? Like I said, my sister thrived there. That was her environment. But for me, I knew that wasn't going to be for me. I needed the smaller class size. I need to get to know my professor, my classmates, and have more of a hands-on type of work. And so, that was the last true reason I went to community college, was for the class sizes and getting to know those people. And the nice part is, when you do transfer to a four-year institution, if that's your goal, you're going to be transferring in as a junior, and generally the class sizes are going to be smaller at that institution by the time you're a junior, because you're getting more into your specific major versus taking general courses, right? So there's a couple benefits with that. We have faculty who are experts in their field. I mean, you met Michael Merson. He's awesome. He teaches criminal justice. He helps teach the Law Enforcement Academy. And not only does he have the knowledge, but he worked as a Colorado Springs police officer. You heard a couple of his stories that he was able to share. So not only is he going to be able to teach you how to do things and do things correctly, but he's going to tell you about experiences that he had, and be able to share that opportunity with you. So again, transferable credits, you can pretty much transfer anywhere you want. UCCS is obviously our biggest funnel. They take a lot of our students after transfer just because they're in town, and they're wonderful. I mean, I was a UCCS student as well, and I can say I had a great time there. Had a great professors. And really what it comes down to is what's your fit. And the fact that, parents are here, some of you students, potential students are here, figuring some of this stuff out, like what is going to be my fit. And that's the important thing. And I'm really glad you're doing that. All right. If you want to run into burning buildings and save people's lives, we have a fire science program that's taught by 4 active duty firefighters. We have a cybersecurity program. It's accredited by the NSA as a Center of Academic Excellence. So cybersecurity is a really big growing field. We have a nursing program. Obviously, as a recruiter, I'm a little biased, but I think we have one of, if not the top nursing program in the state. We have that's out of date. We have 99% passing rates on the nursing exam. This was before we had the Center for Healthcare Education and Simulation, so that program's only getting better. And you can talk to a lot of the hospitals around the state, but like they love Pikes Peak students. Not only are you prepared to go into the working force, you're prepared to take your exams. Like, we have some very successful students, and just adding that simulation center Like they go through a lot of scenarios that you're going to encounter at the hospital or you may never encounter at the hospital, but they're going to have that knowledge and know how to react to some of those different things. So love our nursing program. We are one of 5 programs in the entire country that has a zookeeping tech program. It's a very unique program. You do have to work with both creepy crawlies, so snakes and spiders, but you also get to work with some of the big fluffy animals, right? So there's some fun. One of my favorite stories about the zookeeping tech program, we had by the zookeeping department chair told me about this, so I hope he wasn't lying to me. But they went to the wolf sanctuary and they got to spend the night there. So you wake up and it's all misty and you hear the wolves howling. And part of that, you had to go learn how to interact with the wolves. So the students would go into the exhibit, and this is the part I'm not sure if he was lying to me about, but I think he's telling the truth. He said the students have to show their teeth to the wolf in order to get acceptance, and the wolf will come like lick your teeth. I was like, that sounds terrible. That sounds right. I mean, it sounds pretty unsanitary, but it also sounds terrifying to me. Like they're going to be looking at me like, what a good meal. Like, I don't want to go in there with the wolves, but you do get, again, those hands-on experiences, right? The zookeeping tech room, I wish we could go in there today, but obviously there's no classes, but they have, a lot of small animals, right? We can't fit a giraffe on campus, but they do have like snakes. They've had a hedgehog, they've had turtles, they've had lizards, and then they'll go work at like different zoos and sanctuaries to work with some of the bigger animals. And then they actually, one of the projects that they got to do, which is really cool, they got some of the Great Barrier Reef because it was, the Great Barrier Reef has been dying. And so they brought it here, and we're one of the schools that are helping trying to regrow that Great Barrier Reef. So there's some really cool things that they get to do. They got to do one of the enrichment things that they got to do. They got to build enrichment toys for the Pueblo Zoo. So they went to all the fire stations, collected old fire hoses, and they built some different toys for like lions and things like that. So another program I'm very fond of. It's really fun. Yes.
So how is what's in your catalog? Is that different majors or different campuses?
So kind of. So a lot of the general degrees you can take pretty much anywhere. A lot of the Associate of Applied Science degrees are specific to campus. So for example, like welding will be at this campus because this is where we have the welders. Zookeeping at this campus because that's where the animals are. Nursing is going to be at the medical or at the CHES campus because that's where they have the equipment. If you're looking at like a biology degree though, you can pretty much take that here or at Rampart Range and get those general education courses out. So, you can mix and match campuses, but if it's a career technical program, most likely you're going to be at a specific campus.
So like the general studies can be done?
Those can pretty much be done at any campus. More science-focused ones can be Rampart and Centennial. Downtown doesn't have as many science classrooms. So, cool. Good question. Any other questions? Okay. So resources to support your success. There's a lot of resources here to help you, to make you successful students. We have the Learning Commons. We'll see that in the tour today. Our Learning Commons is your one-stop shop for everything. You get library books there. It's a study space. It's a computer lab. You can do printing in there. And then there's tutoring in there. Okay. And there's a big misconception about tutors. A lot of people think the tutors are there to save you when you're drowning, right? When you have an F. But in reality, they're there to teach you how to swim. And I'll tell you, I learned that the hard way. I already told you I'm really bad at math. I would literally rather learn a foreign language. Like, it's like a foreign language to me. I don't understand it. I was way too far into my business degree when I figured out you had to take calculus. So I was like, man, there's no backing out now. I was feeling okay, though. I was going into this. I got through college algebra, barely, but I'm past it. And I had my roommate in my class who was, he's been my best friend since kindergarten. He's really good at math, took college algebra in high school. So I was like, between these two things, like, I'll make it through. Very first test was a review of college algebra. I had got a 13% on it. My roommate, who's really good at math, got a 14%. So the two things I'm relying on to get me through this this calculus course immediately crash and burn. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to drop out, move into the mountains, become a survivalist, live off the land. Then I realized like I would be a terrible survivalist and I'd die within hours. And I like Xbox and I like plumbing. So decided that wasn't an option, right? So I started going to the tutoring center. It was a tutoring center at the time. We didn't have the Learning Commons when I was here. I'd go into the tutoring center. I'd work on homework after every single math class. There'd be days I'd be in there for 30 minutes. didn't need any help, got my homework and my studying done. There'd be other days where I'd be in there for 3 hours with the tutor by my side trying to explain to me what a derivative is. Okay. And I dug myself from an F back up to a B, which is the highest math grade I've ever gotten. And as much as I'd like to think I became a mathematician overnight, 100% was the tutoring center. Okay. So learn from my mistake, utilize these resources before it's too late, right? If there's a subject you know that you're not strong in, go to the tutoring center and get that help before. It doesn't cost you anything. That's the beauty of it. Okay. We have a childcare center here at the Centennial campus for students, staff, and faculty that's covered by financial aid. Career services, they're wonderful. Once you become a student here, you can utilize career services, and they have a 5-part career assessment that'll show you, hey, here's some of the jobs that you might like, and here are the programs that correlate with those jobs. They help with mock interviews, with resumes, cover letters, all that fun stuff. Okay, and we have an accessibility services office here. So students who have 504s, IEPs, or so you have a short-term accommodation because you broke your wrist over the weekend snowboarding, so you need a note taker, right? You can go to accessibility services and they can help you with those accommodations. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
What are the ages under the childcare center?
I want to say it's like infant up to, well, probably not infant. I think it's like 1 to like 6 or 5, right before like kindergarten. Oh. So it goes up to kindergarten. So I want to say it's like 1 to 5. Okay. Experiencing college life. So you guys are here on a Saturday. We don't have a lot going on Saturdays, just because there's not very many courses. There's a couple, like you saw the Law Enforcement Academy, but most of our classes take place Monday through Friday. We offer day classes, early morning classes, night classes, and like I said, a few weekend classes. Okay. So experiencing college life, we have some awesome things that go on. Our student life department will put on different events. We have club fairs. So some of the different clubs you could join are Phi Beta Lambda is like a business and computer club. It's like the college version of FBLA, if you know what FBLA is. We had a Japanese culture club. You can see signs on the hanging up around campus. We have a movie night club. We have a basketball club. So there's different clubs you can join to be, active and get to know other students. One of my favorites is there's weekly events they'll put on. They have video game tournaments. They have, movie nights. They have speakers. And my favorite is Pause to De-Stress, where they bring therapy dogs to campus during finals week. Because what better way to de-stress than to hang out with therapy dogs? And one of those 2 golden doodles, his name is Brinkley, and he has a Broncos hoodie. He's my favorite dog after my 2 dogs. We have a fitness center, which we'll be able to peek into today. That's free for students to use on this campus. And then Extra Music 1021, if you're interested in like radio, broadcasting, TV. We have a broadcasting and media program here that has a TV studio. They have a radio station, and this is their radio station. It's 100% student ran. You will never hear faculty on it. It's all students. So like when you're hearing music at, 1 o'clock in the morning, that's a DJ, a student who came in and recorded all this stuff during the day so they could play it at night. Okay. And then student government, if you want to make a change on campus, a good way to do that is to be an officer, and you get paid to do that. So some good stuff there. Okay. So this isn't obviously relevant for everybody, but your registration for spring semesters is usually going to be in October. Classes start in January for spring semester. Okay. Fall semesters registration will usually be March. Classes will start in August. So your fall semester is always going to be August. Your spring semester is always going to start January, and summer semester is always going to start in May. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Cool. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Here's my contact information. If you ever want to reach out to me about tours or anything like that, feel free to take it. I give you my cards as well, so I guess you don't need to take a picture of that. But you can always reach out to me for any kind of questions or anything like that, okay? So I apologize. All of our student ambassadors were doing an event this weekend with our other recruiters. So unfortunately for you guys, you get to hear me give the tour as well. So hopefully you're not tired of my voice yet. So, all right, well, let's go on tour.